So I'm John Egan. I'm the commanding officer here at West Valley area, and I'm speaking today with Detective John Dunlap from our property crimes detail, and now working our homicide detail. So John, what do we got going on here today?
Captain, we're showing some property that was recovered as a result of an arrest of 3 suspects for a series of distraction-type burglaries targeting elderly victims. During the course of the investigation, we've been unable to identify any further victims, although we know or reasonably can assume that this stuff is all stolen, does not belong to them. So we're trying our best to identify those people and return it.
How did you get on this case? What's the MO that these burglars or these crooks use?
Typically, they will drive around the neighborhood, at least 2, 3 in a car, and they will target a house that they reasonably believe to be occupied by an elderly couple or a single elderly person. So if there's a basketball hoop in the front yard, if there's a bunch of kids' toys laying around, they will just bypass it. 1 car, manicured front lawn, somebody that they can reasonably assume would be an elderly victim. One of them will then approach the front door of the house, many times either wearing a hat or a pair of glasses with a clipboard, and purport to be either a DWP employee, a tree trimmer, or a contractor, and use some sort of ruse to then get the owner or the victim into the backyard of the house. They'll have a walkie-talkie secreted in their shirt typically or in their pocket, communicating with the 1 or 2 other suspects in the vehicle. Once they get the victim into the backyard, then they'll radio to the other 2 who will go in through the front door that's now left open and ransack the bedroom, taking stuff that they can carry or fit in their pockets. Jewelry, cash, very small valuables. A couple of firearms were taken. Over the course of this investigation, we learned that as well.
So was it just LAPD's West Valley area?
Not at all. During a lengthy surveillance, this crew and their associates or family members were surveilled all the way to Glendora, which we had a case crossed over. Glendora PD ended up identifying one of our suspects, actually getting her filed on and convicted for a crime that occurred there. Baldwin Park, Rosemead, we have property that was recovered from Altadena, which is the Los Angeles County Sheriff's area as well. So we know they've been all through the San Fernando Valley, and I guess that would be the San Gabriel Valley and out east.
Why was this so important to you?
I don't believe there's a whole lot of monetary value. I know there's some, obviously, but in the stuff we have, it's sentimental in nature, if I had to guess. A lot of this stuff is going to belong to generational, then passed down or possessed. I'll give you a story. The case when they were arrested, our surveillance guys did a fantastic job. Actually watched them commit the burglary, watched the whole thing go down. Watched the 1 suspect distract the victim into the backyard. The other 2 go through the front door or through a side door and then come out the front door. I watched the whole thing. Never lost sight of the suspects. They got in their car. They were stopped less than a block away. They called me, the property crimes detail here at West Valley. We responded to then take over that part of the investigation. Recovered all of that victim's property in their vehicle. A couple of our officers went back and were showing it to the victim, returning it to her, and she couldn't find her mother's wedding ring, which was, the story goes, her mother and father were married in the early 1900s. Her father couldn't afford to buy a ring for her mom at that time, saved for 15 or 20 years, finally bought her mom a ring. That was the ring that she was missing. So we searched the car again and again. We actually walked the trail from where they were stopped back to the house, could not find it, until one of the guys the suspects had already been transported back to the station, called the station. One of the officers who had transported her had pulled the victim's wedding ring off of her ring finger, our female suspect. So between less than a block away, she already had the victim's mother's ring on her finger. So there is just no conscience in these people. They target elderly victims on purpose, knowing that they'll oftentimes be alone, and that identification and coming to court poses a problem even if they are arrested.
And did this touch you in any kind of a personal way? I mean, I understand what you're saying about the fact that these people are predators and they prey on the elderly, but you said something to me earlier about what this reminded you of.
Yeah, absolutely. My grandmother passed away last year, and in going through her stuff and the stuff she left behind for my sister and I and my mom, this is exactly the type of things. I have a watch that my grandfather, that she still had, that she left for me, that looks could be any one of these watches. So and again, I don't think there's a whole lot of monetary value, but I would love for somebody to have this back so they can keep it in the family and pass it down.
Okay, and there's, I think there was one watch over here that you
Right.
showed me that actually had some information on the back. I guess this is the proverbial gold watch that somebody got when they retired.
That's correct.
And it had an individual's name and the years of service and when he actually left service with the County of Los Angeles.
Right.
So what did you do to try to find him?
A Google search or like an internet search of the name, and ultimately got in contact with the personnel department for the County of Los Angeles. He was a valued employee for, I think it says 41 years, and retired in...
This is 63?
Yes, it was a while ago. So this watch was actually stolen from his daughter's house in the city of Altadena during a burglary, either by these suspects or someone closely associated with them. So it just, you know, this is a type of item that we're talking about getting back to the people and to hold on to it as a keepsake and a memento.
Oh boy, you put a lot of work into it. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. There's a lot of people that did a lot of hard work. It was a good case, came together.
I just want to do one other thing here. There's a couple of, so they took a plea then, these
Correct.
suspects, right?
That's correct.
And they got how many years prison?
The 3 suspects, Ann Carter, the female, was sentenced to 2 years in state prison. The 1 male suspect, Matthew Ristic, was sentenced to 4 years in state prison. And then Alex Davis was sentenced to 8 years in state prison, but he was out on bail. They took the deal in November. So the judge sentenced him to 8 years with the promise that he would appear back in court to turn himself in 2 days ago on January 22nd. That did not happen. So he is currently outstanding, has a warrant for his arrest, and based on his failure to show, his exposure to state prison is now roughly between 15 and 18 years, because he's been convicted of this exact same type of crime in 2007 in our Pacific Division here in LAPD. So now, and he has to do 80% of that. So when he is caught, and he will be, then he's looking at 15 to 18 years in state prison.
Good. Okay, we'll take a look at that. We'll put that picture up too then.
Absolutely.
All right, John, thanks a lot, man. Good
You
work.
bet, sir. Thank you very much.